and good evening. Welcome back to my channel, this week edition weekly wrap. I am Shahanna, and I come here each week to present to you stories on Sundays, stories that are the top stories that are making headlines, that are very controversial, and that are the most talked about here on our land in the United States, in this nation and beyond. So guys, I have a lot of stories to talk to you about that you are not going to want to miss. So do not leave, okay? I'm going to talk to you about stories about judges' move against Trump officials' order deportation, Trump's new policy deporting American citizens to foreign prisons, and Biden hits back accusing Trump of gutting Social Security, guys. So don't leave, because you do not want to miss these stories. So hold on tight, clip that seatbelt on, and let's go.
In a dramatic legal twist, a federal judge has found probable cause to hold former officials from Donald Trump administration in contempt of court. The controversy centers on the deportation of Kilmer Abrego Garcia, a legal U.S. resident who was forcibly removed from the country and sent to El Salvador, despite a standing court order blocking his deportation. Garcia, who has lived in Maryland since 2011 and is married to a U.S. citizen, was allegedly deported as a result of what the Department of Homeland Security called an administrative mistake. Now detained in one of El Salvador's most notorious mega prisons, Garcia claims he has been wrongly associated with gang activity. Accusations he strongly denies, demanding full accountability from the Trump-era officials responsible. This case is quickly evolving into a flashpoint for immigration policy and executive outreach or overreach.
And the controversy doesn't stop there. Former President Trump is now under fire for proposing an even more extreme policy: the deportation of American-born citizens suspected of gang affiliation, under a proposal that has sparked outrage across the political spectrum.
Grown criminals that push people into subways, that hit elderly ladies on the back of the head with a baseball bat when they're not looking, that are absolute monsters. I'd like to include them.
Trump suggested transferring these so-called homegrown U.S. citizens to prisons in El Salvador as part of a bold international crime-fighting strategy. Legal scholars have slammed the idea as unconstitutional and dangerous, warning it would violate due process and turn the U.S. into a human rights violator on the world stage. Immigration experts and civil rights groups are sounding the alarm.
73 million Americans receive Social Security. From their first paycheck to their entire life, they pay into Social Security. In return, they count on Social Security to be for them when they're going to need it.
Former President Joe Biden is stepping back into the spotlight with a fiery rebuke of the Trump administration's handling of Social Security. During a speech in Chicago, Biden accused Trump and his allies of dismantling the Social Security Administration by slashing staff, closing regional offices, and creating bottlenecks that could delay payments for millions of Americans. He also raised alarms over reports that personal data from the Social Security Administration may have been shared illegally with Elon Musk's private data firms. A federal judge has allowed a case regarding this alleged privacy breach to move forward, raising new questions about the relationship between government agencies and private tech. Biden's return to the campaign trail signals a growing divide over the future of Americans.
Coast to coast, hundreds of thousands of Americans have taken to the streets under the banner "Hands Off." The protest aims squarely at the Trump administration and tech mogul Elon Musk have erupted in more than 30 cities, including New York, Los Angeles, Chicago, and Atlanta. Protesters are rallying against cuts to Medicare and Social Security, anti-immigration crackdowns, and newly announced tariffs that threaten to raise prices on everything from food to electronics. Demonstrators are also demanding greater accountability from private corporations that now appear to have influence over federal programs and data access. The White House has called the protests misguided, but activists say this is just the beginning of a larger movement to reclaim civil liberties and government transparency. A recent Saturday Night Live skit has ignited a cultural firestorm after it was accused of body-shaming actress Amy Louie. The sketch, which parodied The White Lotus, depicted a character clearly based on Wood in a way the actress later described as mean and unfunny. One of the SNL cast members, Sarah Sherman, reportedly sent flowers and a personal apology to Wood, acknowledging that the joke may have crossed a line. The controversy has reignited debates over what constitutes as acceptable comedy in 2025 and whether mainstream platforms should rethink how they portray real-life public figures. President Trump's recent tariff announcements have shaken U.S. markets, with the S&P 500 posting one of its sharpest single-day drops this quarter. The administration announced a temporary exemption on tariffs for smartphones, laptops, and other electronics from China, only to quickly reverse course, warning that the exemptions could be rescinded within months. Businesses and investors are left scrambling as the lack of clarity sends ripples across the tech and manufacturing sectors. Critics say the erratic approach to trade policy is destabilizing the economy and making long-term planning nearly impossible for U.S. companies. The White House, however, insists that these measures are needed to level the playing field. Harvard and Yale universities are in open conflict with the Trump administration over federal funding tied to diversity initiatives. In a bold move, both Ivy League institutions have refused to comply with new mandates aimed at eliminating affirmative action and other race-conscious admissions policies. The administration has threatened to cut more than $2 billion in federal research and education grants if the universities don't back down. Yale faculty members have issued a public letter urging the university to sue the federal government, while former President Barack Obama has spoken out in support of maintaining diverse academic environment. So that wraps it up for this week's edition, Weekly Wrap. Please, guys, do not forget to subscribe so that I can keep you all informed when I have new videos that come out each week. Do not forget to subscribe, and you're more welcome to leave comments. I would love to listen to and read what you all have to say. Thank you so much for being with me this evening to watch my stories, and just please subscribe so that I can get monetized, guys. This is very exciting, being able to be here to bring you all the top stories and headlines. I want to be able to do that, okay? To continue to bring you the top stories that are making headlines here in the United States and beyond. So subscribe. So have a good evening, guys. Take care. See you next time. Bye.